Now let's keep up with security matters right now. In an unprecedented development, President Muhammadu Buhari has asked the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to begin a comprehensive investigation into the role played by former and serving top military officers in the questionable expenditure of funds meant for the procurement of weapons and other equipment for Nigeria's military. However, if this effort is finally meant to crush Boko Haram, the military has to set up what is known as a battalion to curtail the insurgents in the mountainous region. We have so many questions that we're going to look at on this particular discussion, but Chris also has a lead to take here.
Yes, indeed. Now, violent extremists are defined as individuals who support or commit ideological motivated violence to further political goals. Violent extremist threat within the country can come from a range of violent extremist groups and individuals, including domestic terrorists and homegrown violent extremists. As such, any act of violence that is dangerous to human life or potentially destructive of critical infrastructure or key resources committed by a group or individual is based on this extremism. Now, joining us now to shed more light on this is Lionel Rawlins, Assistant Vice President, Security and Safety of the American University of Nigeria. You're welcome on the program.
I should say Mada Kenya.
Dama. That's good.
It's good. You've moved away from the state capital now. He's going into some of the villages, some of the local languages that we have in other local government areas.
No, I'm actually from Hong.
And it's from Hong. And
from Hong, right?
Kilba language.
Yeah, I'm Kilba.
And it's impressive.
I'm from Hong, as I told you. I'm from right there next to the church.
Stop kidding me.
Okay.
Well, good to see you once again.
Good morning.
Hope we had a great weekend, isn't it?
No, it was good. As I told you, I just came. I was at the Obasanjo's Presidential Library presentation where I presented to his group of friends, and in this group were all these governors and senators and the captains of industry. So all of these powerful people gathered in one place. It was quite an experience, and it was a great experience. And I've never been in this amongst so many powerful people at any one time in any one place. So it was a great experience being able to present and speak to all these people.
Lionel, before we get down into the main discussion itself, President Muhammadu Buhari was on Talk to Al Jazeera, and when he was asked a question with regard to whether he has failed Nigerians in delivering his mandate, has promised that Boko Haram will be squashed by the end of December 2015. He was affirmative in his answer. He said, I did not fail. I did not fail. I did not fail. I did not fail. 14 local government areas were initially in the hands or under the control of Boko Haram. Now, none of this is under the control of Boko Haram. Is that a true definition of the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari has not failed Nigeria?
No, he has not failed. The mistake I think he made was to make this announcement as if it's going to be clean cut, you know, beginning and end, alpha and omega kind of thing. And he should not have made that statement. If he had not said it, it would have made him look even much better than he is now. But he did not fail, because the military has actually kept Boko Haram from doing the things they used to do before, which is take over villages and towns and cities, which they have done, and proven that they can do it. But we know that they're still lethal, they're still very dangerous, and they can still kill, and they will continue to kill.
The new tactics adopted by Boko Haram, that is talking about using suicide bombers and also some pockets of attacks on villages that are within the outskirts of major towns and cities in Nigeria. What does that speak in the effort, or the ongoing effort by the military to squash off this group?
Well, it just means that they do have some more cleaning up to do. They have to clean up now. The bulk of the work, the majority of the work has already been accomplished by the military. But it's now you clean up the mess. It's like a doctor doing an operation. they cut you open, they fixed you up and fix whatever they fix. But now you have to clean up the blood and stitch you up and all that stuff. So what we call mopping up exercises, they have to mop it up and clean it up. And believe me, it's just as dangerous and just as difficult as carrying out the major operation itself. Because now they are hiding in different places. They're hiding in towns and villages and cities, and they're just waiting for a call to tell them to strap on a bomb and go into a particular place and kill people.
I guess that's when we talk about sleeper cells existing within the community itself.
Yes, I would say yes. Although a sleeper cell is different, but they act in almost the same way. A sleeper cell is the three of us move to a place and we set up and we might be there for a year or 2 or 3 before we do what we're supposed to do. But in essence, yes, they are part of a sleeper cell, waiting for that phone call to tell them when to put that vest on and where to go and when to do it.
All right. Well, in furtherance to aid the military to crush the Boko Haram insurgency, the military set up what is known as Bike Battalion. And now, if you look at the mountainous region of Madagali, Gulag, and those places that really came under the siege of Boko Haram some times ago, it's been reported that Boko Haram attacked and they fled towards the mountainous region. However, is the Bike Battalion suitable now for this mop-up that you just mentioned?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about where these villages are, they have some remote villages out there that people don't even know exist, right here in our midst. There's a place called Gwoza, and there's Gwoza behind the hills, which behind the hills there's another Gwoza that people don't even know exist. Nonetheless, vehicles and so forth cannot go there. And if Boko Haram were to attack these places, no one will even know that these villages were attacked until the next day, perhaps, until someone runs away and alert others. So the motorbikes give the military the ability to at least drive into these villages and prevent it from happening. Well, maybe they won't prevent it, but at least help them and stop them. And if Boko Haram is fleeing and running away, then these people on bikes can chase them down, or they'll be running straight to the guys on the bikes.
Does it make the military more flexible?
Definitely more flexible. And, you know, this is an old concept, you know. In World War I and World War II, they did use motorbike battalions to chase the enemies, because enemies would be fleeing, and it was fought in Europe where there's a lot of snow and mud, and it was difficult for trucks and jeeps to get through because they would get bogged down. So the motorbikes enabled people to move through rather easily, and in some places they use donkeys and horses to go into these places. I would say it's more efficient to use motorbikes than to use a horse or horses.
No, but Lionel, we should remember that. Let's flash our mind back to some couple of months back. We know that Boko Haram made use of motorbikes in carrying out their own campaign. Now we see the military trying to introduce such thing in a battle against the insurgents. Now, don't we fear? It shouldn't be any fear that the sect could either compromise the mission of the military by also adopting what the military are trying to introduce right now.
No, because the military is adopting what Boko Haram did. You see, the military is now, what the military should have done 4 years ago is to do the same thing then that Boko Haram was doing. We're doing it now. It's 4 years too late. But at least the military is doing it. If the military had adopted motorbikes and were patrolling the freeways and the roads and inside the villages like Boko Haram was doing, things would have been a lot better. But what's it called? Too little, too late, too soon. But better late than never. And I like what they're doing.
Better late than never. Now, going by the effectiveness of the bike. And of course, some times ago, the Boko Haram insurgents overran the military and confiscated some of the armored personnel carriers and stuff like that from the military. Now, should this happen again and, get their hands on this bike, don't you think they will be more deadly, if they happen to confiscate some of these bikes from the military? Should it happen again?
No. I mean, if Boko Haram wants a bike, they don't need to go attack the military. There's a lot of bikes in the villages are sitting down. They can just go into a village and steal a bike, or just capture a guy on a bike and take his bike. So they don't need, it's a lot easier to just go into the village and steal a bike than to go chase the military and steal their bikes, because now it's a war, it's a battle, and Boko Haram is just as smart as us. They don't want anybody to shoot back at them, so they're going to find the easiest way out. Go to the village, steal some bikes, and go and do what they want to do. But this is what they've done all along, too. Boko Haram never bought a bike in their life. They stole bikes. They've never bought a van or a Hilux. They've stolen them. They've never bought a donkey or a horse. They were stolen. Boko Haram never bought anything. They steal them. The only thing they probably bought were guns.
All right, now, Lionel, let's get down to other aspect of this discussion, because one thing that I know for sure is we've talked about Boko Haram and kind of the wave of attack they've carried around the northeastern part of Nigeria, particularly the three states, Adamawa, Yobe, Borno. But we've not talked a little bit much about the ideology, because no one truly understands the ideology of this group. Now, we've seen the growth of terrorist group in Africa. Al-Shabaab is there. We have Boko Haram from this area. Internationally, we're dealing with ISIL. The way this group move and the concept of radicalization seems to be something that we're scared of. That seems to be a paper you delivered at Obasanjo's birthday.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about the concept of radicalization that we see. How would you explain the nature and posture of Boko Haram in terms of the radical movement and campaign they're pushing?
Good question, but let me put you on the spot and throw this question at you.
Okay.
What do you think radical means?
A concept that has the use of force.
Okay.
That pursues.
What do you think radical means?
Well,
pragmatic
yes,
sense.
Expressing fearless disposition.
Yes, because that is what the media has put out there for people to think. The meaning of radical. Radical means complete, thorough, done properly. So it's not a bad word. So in other words, if you made a move from APC to PDP, that's a radical move.
That's right.
If one government change and another government move in, it's a radical change. So radical means a complete change, or a thorough change, or a proper change. So when you radicalize someone, where the word radicalize comes from radical, it means the person made a complete change from something to something.
That's right.
Okay.
So you went from one extreme to the other. That's why they call them extremists, and you hear the word extremism, because you went from one extreme to the other extreme. The problem is, how did you go from that extreme to this extreme? Whether you did violently or non-violently, that's what made the difference. So the word radical is not a bad word.
It's not a bad word. It's the perception.
The perception is that it is bad. You know, and many of us have been radicalized in so many different things. Some people went from one religion to another. Some went from one girlfriend to another. Some people went from one country to another. It's a radical move. Now,
but
how do you get there?
Where did we get it wrong? How did the word radical became a new concept that was coined out to be something that you use in describing terrorist groups? Because carry out massive campaigns.
The media they started using the word radicalized as if it was a bad thing. Now, how do you get there? It's because somebody got into your head and made that change. Whatever that change was, somebody got into your head. It's a psychological move.
All right, Lionel, we're going to get into your head to understanding the concept of radicalism and all of this that we're going to look at and in describing Boko Haram as a terrorist group that is creating or generating fear in Nigeria right now. But we'll take a break and then we'll come back to continue the discussion.
Absolutely.
All right, if you've just joined us, you're watching Safiya Breakfast show. At this point, we'll take a break and return with Dr. Lionel Rawlins, a security expert with the American University of Nigeria, on the issue of radicalization of the dreaded Boko Haram group, what it means and how we can deal with it in Nigeria. Just stay with us. All right, you're welcome back, and if you've just joined us, you're watching Safiya Breakfast show. And here is a quick reminder that later on the show, we'll have a discussion with Honorable Kwamata Lowry on the state of the nation. We're going to be looking at the anti-corruption war that is being pursued by President Muhammadu Buhari. And now, right back in the studio, we have Dr. Lionel Rawlins, as I said, and he is a security expert with the American University of Nigeria. He's looking at violent extremism and de-radicalization of it's a terrorist group that is really fomenting trouble in the world itself. Now, let's get down, Lionel. Understanding this group, getting into their head, giving them a new idea, giving them a new behavior, giving them a new thought, is something that we seem not to have a better understanding of. How does it happen?
Well, first of all, they recruit you, and they make things look very easy and simple. But they usually prey on the people who are weak. You know, a person who is strong-minded and strong-willed, it's difficult to recruit them and radicalize them. It's always the ones who are searching for something. They're dissatisfied with something, and if they will find it, but they will find it in somebody else or from someone else. So in your home, for example, if your child or children are not satisfied with something, you're not giving them, fulfilling them, they don't have a sense of purpose, they don't have a sense of meaning, they don't care about what's going on, they are easily radicalized. They are the ones that Boko Haram and ISIS are going to recruit, because they will give it to them. And so what they're not getting at home, in school, in the mosque, in the churches, in the community, somebody will give it to them, and the people who are giving it to them are not necessarily good people.
So they apply the psych technique, you know, the psych them before radicalizing them. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you have to be psyched up first, and they get you involved, and they get you motivated. They motivate you to think that the things that are going wrong in your life is because of the situation that you find yourself in, the society you're in, the parents you have, the family you have, the school you attend, the church you attend, the mosque you attend. But we can fix that. We can help you.
Now, how do you help someone, Lionel? Let's take, for instance, the issue of Boko Haram. How do you help someone by telling that person that that person could go into a society and slaying people? The value for human life is no longer considered.
Because they make it look glamorous. It's a sense of adventure. There are people out there who would love to kill people. But you know you don't do it because it's against the laws of nature and it's against the laws of society. But if someone make it look glamorous to go out there and slay people, and you're that kind of person with that mentality, you will go. And so a part of the radicalization process is to make things look like I'm giving you a sense of adventure. Come join me. Why do you think people join the military? You know you're going to go to war, or there's a possibility you may go to war, and there's a possibility you may have to kill people.
Sure.
Yet you join, right? So you go. Some people will never join the military because they don't want to do anything to do with guns. And they may not want to shoot anyone, and they don't want anybody to shoot them. So the people who join the military always have the same like mentality. And it is always, look who goes to the seminary. people who want to go and live the kind of life you do. It's the same thing. Who becomes an imam? You have to have a mindset and a motivation to do those things. So it's very easy to make someone see war as being glamorous until you went to war, and then you don't want to go back.
And you don't want to go back. Now, earlier on you said they take advantage of one's dissatisfaction in life, isn't it? Yes, and as such, psyching the person and making him feel as if the situation is going through is because of his parental background or because of what he's done before. Now, does it mean that they can't separate ideology from radicalism?
Yes. Yes, because what they do, they radicalize you first, and then during the process, they instill their own ideology in your head. And they can put a new ideology, they have to get rid of the old one. So they make the old ideology look bad, and then the one I'm giving you is a better one for you. So it's like pulling your teeth, and then putting in a false teeth. Yeah, and it's painful and through the process, but then when they give you your new teeth, you smile broadly.
And now you said they're injecting you new ideology, but first of all, taking off or eliminating the old ideology.
Exactly.
Now, in the midst of doing that, of course, you know, when one begins to live a life of this new level of ideology now, will you call that also the radicalization? You know, taking the old ideology out of the person, you know, and injecting in him the new one. Is it viewed as de-radicalization?
It is a form of de-radicalization, but it is not de-radicalization. Because you have to be radicalized before you become de-radicalized. What you're saying is that you're going through the process of radicalization by removing the old thought, the old ideology, and inject with the new one. That is not de-radicalization, because you're not totally radicalized yet.
That's at the time you were made.
Right.
Yeah, you're not totally radicalized. So
I have to radicalize you first.
It's just, I guess it's just like you brainwashing a person, trying to move them from a point A to point B. The point B is a radical is the radical stage.
That's the brainwash now.
The point A is a safe haven for that person.
Exactly.
So the concept of de-radicalization will not take place from point A to point B. It will only take place from point B to C.
Yeah.
So this
it's like mathematics. It's like calculus or algebra. It's cool. If you ever get involved in it, it's one of the coolest things. I've been involved in well, I don't want to use the word radicalizing or de-radicalizing, but deprogramming. We call it deprogramming.
Deprogramming.
Yeah. I've deprogrammed people before, and it's an awesome process to take him. It's not quick. It's not going to be done in a day or a week or a month, but I can get you thinking one way in several months.
Is it in line with hypnotization? You know?
No, hypnotizing someone is not good, because then you are illegally transforming somebody from one state of mind to a state of mind that you want them to be in. And it's not legal to do that unless you're doing it for a medical purpose or for some kind of treatment. But you cannot take someone, hypnotize them, and leave them in that status. Because now you have messed with that person's mind and ability to comprehend the fundamental aspects of life, because now they're under your will.
You've created a zombie.
You've created a zombie.
That's good.
That's a good way to put it.
Now, Lionel, let's really come to understanding this whole thing, because one thing that seems to bother me the most is we tend to see this issue of radicalization increasing. It's taking new dimension. One of the things that they are integrating right now is gone beyond pep talk. The pep talk where you and I have to sit down and have to tell you all of this. It's gone to the use of social media.
That's right.
We've seen the ISO kind of getting youth from London and the rest of them, or being part of the movement. It's a global fear right now. How can the world or world leaders come to understanding the fact that this is on the rise and there's need for them to tackle it?
Well, everybody in the world knows that. It's a problem now, and they recruit you and radicalize you on social media. And so you see your 13-year-old son or daughter on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all of these different social media outlets, and what they're doing is they're listening to lectures and they're listening and communicating with somebody, some group, some person who is putting stuff into their head, and that person is becoming their friend and their constant friend and their everyday friend, and before you know it, these people have gotten into your head, but your parents don't know because they don't understand, because they don't understand social media.
Okay.
And they don't know what the children are doing because the parents are technologically illiterate. They don't know what's happening. And before you know it, your son or daughter has moved from the left to the right, and you wonder, what went wrong? 6 months ago, you were my little sweet son or daughter, and 6 months later, you're vicious and you're mean. You want to beat up everybody. You want to fight. What happened? Well, they were radicalized on the internet, right under your very eyes, and you did not know.
Now, what are those silent features that parents need to kind of put your eyes on if you see and you notice, and so that they will know this morning and take it very serious in terms of protecting their words?
Well, the changes are very pronounced. They're very prominent. You will see the change.
Pragmatic change.
You will see it because it's like, for example, if a son or daughter at one moment used to eat meat, but they don't eat meat all of a sudden, you know, what's gotten into you? If all of a sudden they're going on a diet, you will notice these things. If all of a sudden they're eating too much, all of a sudden your son is drinking alcohol. He never drank before, he's only 13. Okay. All of a sudden your daughter is using drugs. You will notice these changes. It's the same thing when your child being radicalized. Listen to their conversations.
That's right.
Look at their friends. Look at the sudden changes in the things they do. If you had a son who used to play football, and every afternoon after school he's out playing football, you have to go and look for him to bring him home at night. All of a sudden, he's on the internet. He lost interest in football. He's now on the internet communicating with somebody 6-7 hours a day. That is a sign that something is wrong. And that is when the parent or a friend or family member must enter into that child's domain.
All right, on a final note, I'd like you to speak on this critically. Now, let me take you back to what you said earlier on, that they take advantage of the weaklings, first of all, you know, and also make you feel as if your dissatisfaction of life could be as a result of what your parent couldn't achieve for you, or what you couldn't achieve for yourself, thereby psyching the person. Now, how does environment and economy, you know, serve as a platform for one's level of radicalization?
Good question. All terrorists, all radicalized terrorists believe in their mind and their heart that they're doing something for the betterment of society. Even though they're killing people, they think they're making society, they think they're fighting to make society a better place. So wherever there is injustice, you find a group of people who believe that they are the ones who are called to make it right.
To make it right.
Wherever there is corruption and stuff, there are people who are out there who believe it is their right, the God-given right, to fix that corruption. And that is why you always hear the terrorists say, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, because radicalized people believe in their heart and their mind that they're fighting for you and they're fighting to make things right.
Now, you talked about extremism and radicalization at Obasanjo's birthday. That is a national platform that went global. What would you tell us, Lionel, when you delivered that paper? What influenced that decision for a topic like that, a subject matter like that, to be brought up on a national platform for discourse?
Well, you know, the Obasanjo's Presidential Library, they just started a center called Center for Human Security.
Okay.
And that center is where this topic emanated from, because they realized that radicalism or radicalization and extremism is affecting Nigeria, all of Nigeria, and it's not just Boko Haram, but it's all over that it's been affecting people. And so that topic was timely, and it was amazing to see all these governors and senators and rich and powerful people asking questions about extremism, and they want to know how does it happen, and what can we do to prevent it? How do you de-radicalize someone? And by the way, de-radicalization is a good process. So one day, if you want to know it's done, I'll teach you. But first, you must either kill and capture, isolate, re-educate, and then reintegrate.
That's going to be our point for discussion next week. So
de-radicalization.
We've seen how one can be radicalized, and next week we're going to look at the process for de-radicalization.
You know, it's been very technical this morning.
Exactly.
Right? Thank you once again for coming on the show. It's been good talking with you as usual.
I'm going to Hong today.
All right.
Yeah, want me to deliver any messages?
Eat a lot of granules when you get there.
I shall.
And there's Muruchi also.
Well, that was Lionel Rawlins, Vice President, Security and Safety of the American University of Nigeria, and he spoke on extremism and violent extremism, and radicalization.